Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Let's seek the truth and travel the long road to justice together. What you know, Alibiers, welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi. Good to have you here. It's Monday. We are on verdict watch in the Robert Tellis trial. They have been deliberating for a few hours now. We've had a jury question already. We'll get to that at the end. We're going to make this video very brief. You know to hit subscribe on YouTube, like the video, share it with your friends, ring my bell if you want notifications of when I post new content. And music fact of the day. What was the very first album to be released on CD? That was Billy Joel's 52nd Street, which included the hit songs Big Shot, Honesty, and My Life. Okay, let's just say Robert Tellis shook his head so much during the state's closings that he's got to have a headache. The state sums up how the inappropriate relationship, the loss of the election to a rival, and the articles from Jeff came out. They talk about the text from Robert to Jeff saying that he doesn't know what to say. It's not fair or balanced. He tells Jeff he's distraught and that Jeff was adding to the pressure of his life. They show Robert's response that he put up on his website, as well as the Twitter post defending himself. Robert said his problems with losing the election was a conspiracy. And we know that on July 13th, Jeff requests more records, and he was intending on writing a fifth article. Robert was made aware of that on August 8th, saying that he wanted to review the things that Jeff would receive as part of that request. On August 13th, the Google Map images of Jeff's residence were modified, meaning they were likely put on there before, at some point prior to that date. On August 15th, we see the images of random cars near the access to Jeff's neighborhood. If you remember, the state said that Robert was running an amateur surveillance on the area near Jeff's neighborhood. Robert was notified on September 1st that the documents were going to be released, and 15 hours later, Jeff is dead. They go through all of his movements on the day of the murder, from his house to Jeff's by car, on foot. They remind the jury that his wife texted him, "Where are you?" Robert kills Jeff. He leaves, goes home, and gets his BMW and goes to Planet Fitness. On September 6th, Las Vegas PD releases the video of the suspect as well as the Yukon car. Roberta texts Robert, "Please do not be driving your Yukon," and then sends another text, "Please tell me your car is not that color." Robert responds and says it's similar, if not the same. They show the similarities between Robert's car and the suspect car. They show the surveillance video from across the street where you see Jeff come out of the garage, going to the side, and you see that struggle take place. They point out Robert left his phone at home, wore a disguise, and he was lying in wait. They mentioned the DNA evidence that was under Jeff's fingernails belonging to Robert, and there was very little blood at the crime scene, and Robert had a long walk back to his car, which could explain why DNA was not found in his car. They also point out Jeff did not have a lot of blood on his shoes. They move into the evidence found at Robert's home, the cut-up clothes, the hat, that bag. And the state says that was not planted, that was hidden. Robert testified just last week he is a victim in all of this. He was wronged by the county. He was set up by Schilling, law enforcement, Detective Jappy, lead Detective Gaddis, Compass Realty, police officers who preserved the scene, a phone hacker, the DNA analysts, or maybe it's not that he was wronged. Maybe he's the one. Defense gets up and says that Robert got on the stand and told you he's been in custody for 2 years and wants to tell you his story. You judge every witness's credibility. The state does not have Jeff's DNA anywhere except the murder scene. There's no blood or DNA in Robert's home. Nobody can put him at the crime scene, and said there would have been evidence if he killed Jeff. There's no surveillance showing Robert leaving his home that morning, and reminds the jury the body cam video was overwritten. There was nothing that showed any change in Robert's behavior that day. And he says that they did not get to compare the message found on his wife's Apple Watch asking, "Where are you?" to Robert's phone. And anyone could have had access to Robert's Google account in reference to those Google Map images that were found. They show a photo of the suspect in the vehicle and points out it looks like the driver has hair. I've got that picture up on the screen now. There was a lack of information of who bagged Jeff's hands, which is where Robert's DNA was found. They point out that the state said Robert wasn't responding to junk messages, so he must be committing the murder. The state gets back up and show all the ways this was an amateur job. The biggest being leaving the garage door open. Inside the bag, that wasn't sawdust. They show a close up, and it looks like part of the straw hat. Robert's DNA in the shoes found underneath the couch. He had the surveillance photos in his phone where he was staking out, taking photos of cars. The motive was laid out in Jeff's articles. He also reminds the jury there were no cameras in the area when Robert left his home. The street he was seen leaving from goes right to his driveway. The state says he didn't respond to junk messages, but he also didn't respond to his wife. He says Robert worked in an office with 8 people under him. He's not a U.S. senator. And Robert's theory of a conspiracy is more Robert's view of himself than reality. They also point out Robert turned off his location for pretty much the entire month of August. Then he ends with, if this is a big conspiracy, then why not just let Robert die in the tub before SWAT came in? The jury had the 2 questions. One, they wanted more paper. And the second, they wanted to know how to zoom in on a video. I kind of wonder if the defense entering in this photo of the suspect that does show something up top there, and we know Robert's very bald. Not sure if that is maybe something they could be hung up on. Then again, they could be looking at that video of the struggle from the side of the house. It was pretty far off, but they have been deliberating now for nearly 4 hours. I thought too, I was wrong. When a verdict does come down, I will be putting that on a YouTube short and on social media. I won't do a separate episode just for a verdict, although I will touch on it tomorrow when I do the episode on Corey Richen's preliminary hearing, if we have one by then. So that's it for closings. We will see what this jury does. I'm really shocked they've gone this long, but juries are unpredictable and, they could be very thorough, just going through everything piece by piece. I'll keep you guys updated the minute I hear something. Hope you guys have a good rest of your evening. We will see you